So in a previous video, I talked about proper communication with the DoorDash customer, both when you pick up their order and also when you drop off their order. I also did a video where I talked about how DoorDash changed the way that you communicate with the customer when you hit that chat icon. I will post a link at the end of this video to both of those videos so you can have a look at it there. But today's video is going to talk about how after 6 months of this experimental inside the app chat system, how now it is just fucking up and I can't even communicate with the customers anymore. Maybe you guys have experienced this as well. I'm assuming that you did. So let's talk about that. 6 months ago, and for all the time before that, whenever you wanted to talk to the customer, so if you wanted to let them know that you were on the way, that you picked up their food, also when you dropped off the order, you wanted to send them a little text and say, hey, your food is outside your door. Thank you so much for the tip. What would happen is you would hit the chat icon that is on the order. That would open up the default app that is on your phone. So for me on Android, it was the Samsung Chat. And what they would do is they would assign a phone number that is a dummy phone number. So this way you wouldn't actually see the customer's real phone number, but it allowed you to talk to the customer. So I would pick up from the restaurant. I would let them know that I was on the way. They would say, thank you so much, be safe, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's how it used to be. And then eventually what they did was they incorporated it into their own app. They like to bring everything into the app, just like they did with Google Maps, if you old guys remember that. It used to be when you hit the map to figure out where to go to bring to the customer, it would open up Google Maps or Waze, which one you were using. And so it would open a separate app. And then eventually they brought that into the app so that it's built into the app itself. They did that with the chat system when you talk to the customer. All right. So when they first started doing that, it was a little confusing, but I got used to it. It was all right. It didn't matter. It was whether it was inside the app or outside the app. It was either way, it was fine with me. Okay. There was some issues with it at first, but then I got used to it. And that's the way now I talk to the customer. But lately, and in the last 2 weeks, there's a major fucking problem with this chat system that they incorporated into their app, and I'll explain what that is. Now, at first, when they rolled out this new chat system, you guys probably recognize this. Every 7 or 8 orders that you would go and hit the chat icon instead of opening up the chat icon, the chat system within the app. It went back to opening up your default chat on your phone. What would happen is there are some restaurants that have their own website. So, for example, let's say Wingstop. So if you guys have ever ordered Wingstop, you know that they have their own app, they have their own website. You can place an order. Now, if you choose to get delivery and you want it delivered to you, what would happen is you would place the order on the Wingstop website or through their app, and that would get translated back to DoorDash to the driver to pick up that order. But the customer is not using a DoorDash app. They're using Wingstop. And so what would happen is when you wanted to chat with the customer, you would hit the chat icon. It would open up a separate or your default chat app on your phone because the customer is not using the DoorDash app. So this way there's no internal communication with the customer through the Dash app because they're not using the Dash app. Hopefully that makes sense. So DoorDash recognized that when they first came out with this internal chat system, and the way they would handle that is by opening up, in that case, they would let you open up your own chat system, and this way you can communicate with the customer outside of the DoorDash app, right? And that's how it's been since they started using this internal chat system within the Dasher app. But in the last couple of weeks, I noticed that I would say 1 out of every 7 or 8 orders, right? When I go to communicate with the customer, let them know that I just picked up their food, and I'm telling them I'm on my way. What happens is you hit the chat icon, the DoorDash app just blinks, and nothing happens. Nothing opens. There's no way to communicate with the customer, right? I don't know why they started doing this, where at first you were able to communicate with them when they had an order like that that was outside the Dash app. You were able to still communicate with them. Now I can't even talk to them anymore, right? So it seems like 1 out of 7 or 8 orders. I do a lot of Wingstop. Some of them are through the DoorDash app, and that's where the customer is placing the order. But now they're placing the order through the Wingstop app, and I can't even talk to them anymore. I don't know if you guys are experiencing this. I hit the chat icon and it just blinks. And I noticed that it's doing that on orders that are at restaurants that do have their own online ordering system. So somewhere DoorDash changed their app so that when the customer is not placing the app through DoorDash, but on a restaurant's website, you can't communicate with the customer anymore. So they decided that communication is no longer important with the customer, which is fucking insane. Because to me, I don't know, again, I have a video about this. I talked to you guys. I am very communicative with the customers. I like to let them know that I got their food, that I'm on the way. And also when I drop off, I let them know, hey, your food is by your door. Thank you so much for the tip. But now I can't even tell them that, right? So I also noticed that when they shifted to this new internal chat system with the customer, I would say 50% of the communication with the customer, I would say, hey, I picked up your order. I'm on my way. I'll be there as fast as I can. They would respond, thank you so much, drive safe. They always had some sort of response. Now it's down to like 5%. Most of the time when you go through the internal chat system, they're not seeing it. They're not communicating back. So there's some issue with this internal chat system. I don't like it anymore. I don't actually get to communicate with the customer properly. I know that they're not even seeing what I'm writing. I know some of you guys don't even think it's important to communicate with the customer. You just pick up their food, you drop it off, you don't say shit, right? But I like to communicate with the customer. I think it's good for them. I think it's good for me. It generates some bigger tips sometimes. Sometimes they'll give me a cash tip based on a communication we had as I'm driving to the customer. For example, if I was staying at the restaurant an extended period of time waiting for their order, sometimes they would give me an extra $5. Now I can't even let them know that I've been there waiting, jacking off, waiting for their order, so I don't even get those extra tips anymore. I haven't gotten an extra cash tip in a long time, right? And I think it's because of this new internal chat system. Now, whenever the order is placed on a restaurant or with a restaurant's website or through their app and not through the DoorDash app, you can't communicate with the customer anymore. DoorDash, fix this fucking problem. I need to communicate with the customer. You guys are making it impossible. I think what we need to do is give the Dasher within the settings the option of using either the internal chat system or the external chat system, like your own default chat app on your phone. Just like they do now, there's a setting in there whether you want to use the internal Google Maps system or whether you want to go outside and use Google Maps or Waze. You have the option of choosing that, but they're not giving you the option to choose how you communicate with the customer, right? I always liked it when I was communicating with the customer through my own phone's app because I can do a lot more. I could send little image files. I could send GIF files, little thumbs up, little smiley faces. You can't do that anymore with the new internal system. You can't send a picture file. Let's say if you have one prepared that says, thank you, so much for using DoorDash, you can't do that now. Okay. So I'm hoping that somebody from DoorDash, one of the software designers, are actually watching this video so they can wake up, stop smoking crack, and get to work and make everything better for us. The Dashers are struggling as it is. There's a lot of problems with the app. This shouldn't be one of them, communicating with the customer. So let me know in the comments below if I'm right, if you're having the same issue that I'm having, how it's affecting you, and let me know that I'm not crazy, that this is not just happening to me, that this is happening to you guys as well. All right, so that's the video for this week. I know it's just a complaint about the DoorDash app, but I want to make sure that you guys know what's happening so that when you experience the same thing, you know that it's not just you that it's happening to, that it's the rest of us. Okay, so let's talk about it in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.